What if you could take a look inside your hive and see what's happening in there without even opening the lid? Well, today on Sir Winston Honeybees, we're going to look exactly at that, and we're going to explore this device that I use called the Broodminder, and I'm going to tell you exactly what is this thing over my shoulder. If you're really curious, you need to stick around and find out. Hey everyone, this is John with Sir Winston Honeybees. Today is Saturday, August 15th, 2026. It is about 80 degrees outside. I'm a teacher here in Northeast Ohio who also happens to keep bees. And I've been doing this since around 2021, started off as a COVID hobby. And certainly glad that you're tuning in to my YouTube channel. So what are we doing today? Well, today we're going to get into our hives and we're just going to take out the temperature sensors that I have inside called Broodminders. If you watch my channel with regularity, you will notice that I have these Broodminders and I've had them in there for about 3 years. Now, there are various temperature sensors that you can have inside your hive. Before that, I had a Govee, but the Broodminder offers certain advantages that the Govee does not and has a lot of features. So I'm going to show you the pluses and the minuses of using the Broodminder, as well as this thing over my shoulder called the Subhub. Another thing we're going to do today is we're going to take the Broodminders, the sensors out. We're going to replace the wrappers. I just purchased those from Broodminder. And also we're going to replace the batteries. We're going to replace the batteries in both the sensors, and we're going to replace the batteries in the Subhub right here. So thanks a lot for tuning in. Make sure that you are subscribing to my channel. Give me some likes so we can keep the channel going and so your algorithm keeps coming back to my channel as well as other beekeeping channels. And let's get into it. I typically keep my Broodminders right below the inner cover. This is called the inner cover. And that's become a bit of a problem, so I'm going to go ahead as I take it out and we get into this video, explain to you why this sensor right here, this Broodminder sensor, needs to be kept in a different part of the hive. So here's one of them. Okay. All right. So here they are, Broodminders. These are the temperature sensors. We're going to go ahead and take them inside the house, and I'll tell you all about Broodminder inside. So Broodminder was created in 2015, not that long ago, really. What, 11 years ago, by a engineer and apiarist. I believe his name was Larry. I have to look that up just to be sure. But he's in Wisconsin, right? And so being an apiarist, that's just a fancy word that I just threw out there for beekeeper. And the whole purpose of the Broodminder program is to kind of keep track of bees in hives across the United States. And you can opt in to a program called Bee Counted. That's part of their Broodminder program. And so what they wanted to do is gather data from hives around the world, really. First the United States, then around the world, for anybody who kind of wanted to participate in this program called Broodminder. And so now, like I said, it's been expanded to Bee Counted. You can opt in if you want to. And now they're doing something called Mite Counted, but they're trying to keep track of, mite loads and everything in the United States. They're trying to see patterns. Obviously, the whole idea is to just kind of help beekeepers like myself just kind of keep track of the mites and if there's any patterns across the United States as far as frequency, infestation, or mite load in hives in certain parts of the country, weather, etc., etc. So it's very scientific, much more scientific than I'm involved in. The purpose for my involvement in Broodminder, and I'm happy to share my data with them. As a matter of fact, I emailed them the other day, and I had an issue with one of my sensors right here, and it was just a data cache issue with the Subhub. There was too much data, and so it was giving me incorrect readings. And then Mike, who's the engineer who keeps track of the emails and the troubleshooting at Broodminder, emailed me back and gave me some suggestions and said, by the way, we see your hive is online and now recording proper temperature. So they are watching our hives. So again, you have to opt into this thing, and that's perfectly fine with me. I'm happy to participate in the program. And so I ordered, as you can see, I bought these. These are the temperature and humidity sensors. Now these are the T2H, and I bought 4 of them together with this thing right here called the Subhub. Now there's 2 kinds of Subhubs. This is just the Bluetooth Subhub. If you opt into, there's actually one that you can connect to Wi-Fi and cellular data to upload information. But I'm about 100 or 120 feet or so from my hives. So this Subhub right here sends information from, well, let me just explain how this works. So the sensor, I have it set up to record temperatures every hour, once an hour. So once an hour, this sensor records temperatures. Now, it stores the temperature inside, of course, this little circuit that it has right here. Every 10 minutes, this thing called the Subhub sends out a pulse and collects data from these sensors right here. So these are inside the hive. This Subhub collects data from the sensors. So in a 24-hour period, obviously, it gets 24 readings because this only collects 1 reading per hour. And you can set it up to be every 15 minutes if you want, but that uses up a lot of battery power. So I have it set up to collect data every hour from the sensor. And so it collects that information into this Subhub. And in the morning, and this is pretty close to the hives, as you see from the video, you can see in my videos when I do the openings, Subhub set up right here in the tree. I'm actually going to move it because I think that tree is going to be falling down here in the next year or two. That's not really important. And so in the morning, I connect to the Subhub via an app on my phone, which I'm going to demonstrate also on this video. And then what will happen is that this sends 24 hours of data to my phone, to the app on my phone, where of course it's uploaded. I look at the app, like I said. I'm going to be, again, like I said, I'm demonstrating the app to you here right after this, and you can see how the app works. The app does what it's supposed to do, but it's not very, let's say, user-friendly. So I think Mike and Larry and the team at Broodminder really need to kind of update the app at this point in time. Be that as it may, I like the Broodminder program. I like the Broodminder sensors, and they work really great for me. So really, I have no complaints, except the app could be better, but it's fine. Let's take a second to look at the Bees app from Broodminder, which I have right here with my socials. I don't know why I put it in my socials, but whatever. Let's go ahead and click that on. So the first thing you're going to see, and I'm not super crazy about this, I'm not super crazy about the app in general. It's really in need of a rework, but this screen right here obviously tells you, kind of an overview of what's going on with your hives, especially since the device is called Broodminder. We're going to take a look at brood, right? But I can tell you that there's actually brood in my hives, and it's telling me that that the hive is dead. It's not a dead hive, but clearly the problem is not that the Broodminder sensor is giving me bad information. The problem is that I have placed the sensor in a bad location in my hive. So clearly it needs to be moved. So once, obviously, we change the batteries and the wrappers on these, then we'll go ahead and place them in the proper place, and I'll show you how to do that. So as you can see, we've got a graph that shows the amount of brood. Here's our other hive. You can see there's an increase. I got 2 nukes that are empty right now, so really nothing to see over there. As we look across the top, if you want to buy the scale, you can go ahead and buy that. It's very expensive. But most beekeepers just use the heft method. Productivity, as far as, is there a buildup of honey, etc. Usually the scale you use in the wintertime to monitor the weight of your hive. The temperature is kind of cool, right? You see the variation in temperature. And this is the upper brood temperature on hive number 2. If I switch this to hive number 1, it would show me that. Now here's the thing, I've had a little problem with the data, so I had to clear the cache in my my Subhub, and I'll demonstrate that, of course, as well to you. So moving on, this is the humidity in the tribe. Again, a problem with the hive number 1 data that was transferred to the Subhub incorrectly. But here's hive number 2, and you can see that it's slightly above normal. Again, it's not super accurate, but you can see that we have a consistent humidity in the hive, so that's good. Again, here's the brood. This is notes from last week, so you can do like cute little icons when you create a new note. You add an apiary note or a hive note, and then you can obviously set the date, and then you can go to add tags, and the tags have all this stuff like eggs presence and larvae, etc. Whether you did a split or it swarmed. If your bees are sick, specifically, of course, your queen, if you see the queen herself, scattered brood or a queen cell, what kind of treatment you put in the hive, and other management things like you added or took off a super, you added brood. So it's pretty good also, as far as if you're feeding candy or patty. So you can keep track of what you're doing, especially if you have a lot of hives. You can see what you're doing with your hives. And you can do it per hive or for apiaries. And if you want to do notes about plants or whatever, that's kind of a cool thing. This is a new feature. I've not seen that before, but, it's kind of cool. All right. And then if you have any alerts in your hive, you can see that as well. So that's kind of a cool thing. That's part of how it works. Here's the thing, right? So if you want to do a sync, you can see on the top right-hand corner, there's a sync button. I can stand in front of my hives and I can go ahead and do a sync. And so it'll take readings from all the sensors in the hives in real time at that particular time. Now, I also have a device, and if I click on devices here on the bottom, you see it has the Subhub, and then it has my specific hives, the hive number 1, nuke number 1, nuke number 2, and hive number 2. Now, the thing about this is that this is usually the one that I use from my kitchen window every morning. When I wake up, I go to my kitchen window, and I'll go ahead and take a reading off of the Subhub. The top is the Subhub. Now, here's what I really don't like the way this is set up, because it takes a lot of steps to get the Subhub to sync. So as you can see, I have to open the app. I have to go to devices. Then on the Subhub on the top, I click on these 3 buttons, and then you can see we've got sync, some other things with the Subhub, and then I'll click on sync. And instead of just syncing, it goes to another page. Now, sync all devices. Show all devices. Why do we have show all devices? We don't really need that. So I click on that, and now it's going to sync the data from the Subhub, which is actually about 150 feet away. So that's pretty cool. And these are the readings since this morning. So every hour it takes a reading, because that's how I have it set. Otherwise the battery runs out. And then I go ahead and upload my readings. Click done. Too many steps. And now it goes back to this page, and I have to go back. So Broodminder, you guys need to update this app, I think, because there's way too many steps in order to get the data from the Subhub. So as you can see, obviously, I'm going to go actually to this one right here. Here's my latest readings from the hives. Hive number 1, 88.1. That's a good temperature. Humidity, 68%. Hive 2, 80.8, so around 81 degrees Fahrenheit. And nukes number 1 and nuke number 2, there's no bees in there right now, so that's my ambient temperature. If I want to look, I can go to show details, and it's going to show me, data. And this is hive number 1, so let me show you hive number 2, because that's probably a little bit better. I'll show you, because of the bad readings that I was having earlier. What I did was I cleared the cache on the Subhub, and everything's working fine. But again, I'm going to go to show details, and this is hive number 2. So you see on the bottom right here, temperature and humidity, and you can also see if there's any temperature events, which there haven't been any, and you can also see the battery life, which is, it's not really a very good reading on battery, but anyway, that's battery. Humidity, and my battery's at 42%. So actually, I am going to change the battery on both these Broodminders right now, just to make sure that, so you see on the bottom, our Bluetooth signal is 100%, battery at 42. Here's our model number, firmware, etc., etc., etc. So last reading, 8:14 at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, which is actually, that was yesterday, right? 50, yeah, that was yesterday. Okay, all right. And of course, you can read 24 hours or 14 days. You can just get a wider picture of the whole thing. With the Subhub, real quick, just to take a look at that, I'll go back here. Subhub, click on that. And if I want to show details on the Subhub, it's going to show me the same thing, but for all the highs. All right, so it's actually scanning what devices it's picking up from the Subhub right now. And a lot of it has to do with signal strength, but we have fairly decent signal strength. So anyway, so that's the Broodminder app. Okay, so what we're going to do right now is we're going to go ahead and change batteries on both my Subhub, which is about giving me about a 73% battery strength right now. And also, we're going to change batteries on both of my sensors. I'm going to show you how to do it on one, and then, you know, obviously that's all you need. So for the sensor, you just need a flat 2032 battery, which is the most common of these pill-sized batteries you can get at the grocery store, the 2032. And I usually change them every year anyway. And hold on one second, because the dog is being needy. Okay, all right, here's the dog. So go ahead and get a sniff. Yeah, there you go. Likes the propolis smell. Smells good, doesn't it? All right. Okay, that's Winston. Sir Winston honeybees. This is the namesake of Sir Winston honeybees right there. My little dog. Okay, Winston, you've seen enough. All right. So each sensor is identified by a unique number. So if I look on the back of this one right here, let's go on this one because this one's covered in propolis. So just to make it simple, this one right here is 56383A. All right, 56383A. And if you look on the app, and I was also going to show you some screenshots of the website, you're going to see sensor 56383A on there. So I could take, and actually I'll tell you something. I ordered two, and they're only $5 a piece for these replacements. These things are much more expensive, the sensors obviously, but I ordered two at $5 a piece, and they sent me three. So I'm super happy about that. But you can see right here, this is actually, you can see that a whole bunch of it actually broke off. And a big chunk of it, you know, this part hangs outside the hive. It doesn't have to, but it hangs outside the hive. And over time, obviously, it wears out and it breaks. So I've had these for about 3 years, I think. So they've weathered pretty good. And at $5 a piece, that's not too bad. So what I'm going to do is, right here where it says, hello, my name is, I'm just going to go ahead and write this number. Again, and the number was 56383A. All right, 56383A. I'm going to use a Sharpie, obviously. 56383A. Fifty-six, 38. That's the other dog. That's Georgie. All right, 56383A. And so just going to let that dry a little bit and set this aside. Go ahead and change the battery in this particular sensor. So I'm just going to go ahead, and I have some tape on here, which I like to put tape on it just to kind of hold it together. But I'm going to go ahead and cut this tape off, open up the sensor for you, and quickly, easily replace the battery. So I just use packing tape on here, which I'm going to do at the end. I won't show you that, but take that off. And it kind of has almost like a Mobius. It's not really a Mobius, but the way it's wrapped is a little, it's got inside and outside and up and down, but again, we'll just go ahead, got a lot of propolis on it. Pop that open, okay? And then, as you can see, it's going to come through here again. All right, so it's going to come through here one more time. All right, so now you can see, and I can see the number, 53383A. Gives you a little instruction right there. It says battery goes up. And here's the sensor. It's just a little circuit board. As you can see, that's the sensor. All right. That's the back of it. So what I'm going to do is just quickly just pop the battery out, put a fresh battery in, and then put it into the wrapper. I got to check something real quick on this other one. All right. So I'm just popping this out. It's going out on this side. I'm just going to use this. Pop my nail under it. All right, so that battery's spent. Go ahead and put new battery in. And you're going to see it blink. All right, once it registers that the new battery's in there, it blinks. And basically it's just powering back up. I don't have to do anything. It'll stop blinking after a while and it's ready to go. Okay, so let's go ahead and pop it into the wrapper. All right, so what we're going to do is, just so I don't get confused, so what I could do, I could just pop it into here, right? Fold it over. Yeah, I actually have it upside down, so I'm going to flip it back in this direction. There we go. All right. Now, just going to fold this over here. All right. And fold this over here. And these will lock into each other. Okay. All right. Wasn't the simplest way to do it, but it's on and it's a little bit loose, right? The wrapper is not perfectly sealed, waterproof. So I'm just gonna put some transparent packing tape around here, just one layer, and then just kind of make sure that it's nice and sealed in. Okay. All right. So it wasn't the greatest way to demonstrate it, but that's done. And again, we've got our number right there. And you can see the number right here, 563638 3A. All right, and that one's ready to go back into the Hive. Now, let me show you how we change batteries on the Subhub. So I demonstrated the Subhub, and as you can see on the website, this Subhub registered as number 520364. And what I do is, obviously, as you can see from this container, and actually the Subhub, this case is relatively new. Before that, what they did was they sold you the internals, and then they had like third-party apparatuses that you could put it inside that were waterproof, that would like hang on something. But what they did, they developed this molded plastic, really, really heavy duty, with, of course, a seal. So it is totally waterproof, and I just screw it into the tree. Okay, so to change the battery, I need to get a screwdriver. All right, I'll be right back. Okay, the screwdriver is a little small, but it should be fine. I'll get a bigger screwdriver. So again, just some Phillips. And this actually has 4 AA batteries in it. And the way they're packaged is also a little bit unique. So while I'm doing this, let me talk a little bit about the website. The website's nice. So once the data is uploaded and it goes into the website, you can see your data in different screens or in different graphs. Obviously, you can see your temperature, you can see your humidity, you can see your battery life, you can see the outside temperature, which is actually read by the subhub. So the sensor reads information inside the hive. The subhub will give you information outside of the hive. Will give you a temperature outside of the hive. So obviously, you know, if your hive is the same temperature as ambient temperature, especially in the wintertime, well, your hive is dead, right? So that's one way of knowing. That's why the Broodminder is such a critical tool in the wintertime, because it's cold, you know, and you can't see inside your hive in the wintertime. So what's going on in there in the winter? So that's kind of like having X-ray specs, right? You can look inside your hive and see what's happening in there in those critical winter months. So as long as you see temperature inside the hive that's higher than your outside temperature, well, then your bees are still alive. So we've got 4 AA batteries. They're held together by this Velcro tape, and we are going to put in these fresh batteries. As you can see right there, you're seeing some red lights. That means, of course, that this device is also now active. Close up that Velcro, and we're going to go ahead and put the cover back on. So getting back to the app real quick, or to the website real quick. So again, we're seeing internal temperatures, internal humidity, and it's got some other added things that are useful to you, like nectar flow, foraging information, and this is all, you know, local information that's been gathered from the data that we're getting that Broodminder is collecting from other beekeepers in the area. So it gives you an idea of what your hives are doing. I do want to point out that this video is not sponsored by Broodminder. This is all stuff that I bought myself. So Broodminder is not sponsoring this video, but if they happen to see it and they do want to sponsor it, feel free to, you know, sponsor my videos. All right. So that's it. Hope you enjoyed the video. Again, we're going to put this back in the tree outside. We're going to put these new sensors in our hives. Now, real quick, these sensors were not giving me good readings because I'm putting them on top of the supers. I'm going to move them down to the brood chamber. And you can also put multiple sensors in one hive if you want to. So I'm just going to use one because, like I told you, they're kind of pricey. So just use one per sensor. So anyway, that's it. Thanks for watching the video. Please make sure you subscribe. Keep subscribing. Give me a thumbs up so your algorithm says, I want to watch, you know, Sir Winston's beekeeping videos. Make sure your bees remain happy. And for now, just make sure you're watching this video right here that YouTube is recommending.